Hello, my name is Roslyn Gowens, and I am a search consultant at Edgility Search. At Edgility Search, I have the opportunity to partner with both clients and candidates. And when clients come to us with this position or this role or this mission and values and trying to accomplish a specific task, and they want to hire someone. And so my goal is to always meet the client needs and find the person who aligns well, but also meeting the candidates where they are and finding an experience that aligns well with what they're looking for in the next step in their career. What drew me to this work is I think it started when I was a young child working alongside my mom. She was an advocate for those that are survivors of intimate partner violence. And so, what that looked like was me creating PowerPoints alongside her, also me being in community meetings, putting together presentations, working with different community partners, whether it was in education, schools, church, and really kind of bridging the gap between the different resources that were needed in order for those to kind of get out of the cycle of domestic violence, which led me to really where I am today.
So, what you made you say yes to joining Agility Search?
Yeah. So when I looked at Agility Search, I learned about them because prior to working for the team, I was doing executive search. And every time that I would see Agility Search's name or see a new role being posted, it was posted by Agility Search. And I'm like, wow, what does this company do? Let me learn a little bit more about them because even, the searches we were looking at that time, Agility Search, it was just repetitive. And so a while ago, I started following the CEO, Christina, and I really admired the way that they rebranded and branded their work because to me, it felt genuine. It's something that I followed just like in admiration of the organization. And it felt genuine in the sense that a lot of rebrands I feel like are loud and they're moments in time, but Agility Search, it was following the work that they were already doing. And I wanted to be a part of that once I had the opportunity to look for something else, look for another role. I knew Agility Search was my first stop. And so that was my first email out and first message out because even the data now working for Agility Search, the data matches the story and it matches the rebrand from the butterfly to the language that's used. It's real stories just on a brand, and the data always matches everything that they say, which is very important to me in my work.
You mentioned the data and the brand and the story. What is that?
Yeah.
Explain to me what that is that you see because you're the expert.
Yeah. So the data and the brand that I see is really being able to kind of what I was mentioning a little bit earlier is meet the client that are looking for, let's say as a unicorn of a role in their opinion and trying to find someone that they feel like there's no way we can find this person to meet all of these requirements on this job description and do this work that we really do need, but then being able to do just that. And that's what I saw with Agility Search. They partner with organizations that are doing real work. And I think, being directly on the front line doing that work is so important. And then seeing an organization backing that work and being indirectly involved was really important to me. Not only that, I love when you see the word diversity and then the data backs the word diversity. So being able to see diverse faces go into these C-suite level roles doing very good work, but not necessarily in a bragging way, just that it is really happening and the data backs it, really also stood out to me, which made me feel even more at home and even more of a want to say yes to Agility Search.
How would you describe your approach to partnering with clients?
Yeah, I think back to a lot of clients, they feel like the challenge is how do we find the right person to do this work? How will they be successful? And how do we trust this team and trust this search lead to do this work? And my goal is to always approach the relationship in a genuine respect for the organization, a genuine respect and understanding, trying to understand whoever the client is as a human first. I think we look at organizations as a whole and we think, okay, we understand the gist of what they're trying to accomplish. But once you're able to go in, ask the right questions, the real questions, dig a little bit deeper, I think there's opportunity to have and build a genuine trust. That's one of the most important pieces to me in search is that the clients feel like they can trust me and that I fully understand what it is that they need, because I am the one doing the work, finding the candidates, talking to the candidates, trying to align their experiences with the need of the organization. And I always say that I get to work with new teammates every so often. Although I get to work with new teammates, new organizations, they become my teammates because they can contact me just like the team here at Agility Search. And we build a bond and a trust. And my approach is that any client or candidate that I have, they'll never lose me. They'll never lose my support. And they can always tap back and reach back and ask me questions. And that happens pretty often throughout my work. I always have conversations with those I have come in contact with and worked with.
What motivates you most when you think about the organizations that you serve?
I think it's to empower those that are in the direct service of the work in the nonprofit space and in nonprofit spaces and education spaces. I think that that work takes, I mean, it takes a lot. It takes special humans to do needed work. And what motivates me the most is that I get to back that. While I'm not on that direct service line, I am able to back them in a way that is meaningful and indirectly being connected to that. I think that kind of goes back to being that little girl, being alongside my mom, seeing change, being on the policy side of things and education, and just seeing the way that one individual coming together with others are able to impact someone else for generations to come is very important to me. So I think that's a part of what motivates me to continue this work, and it gets me excited every day to do the work as well.
Now that we know what motivates you, can you tell people what people may not immediately know about you that shapes how you work as well?
Yeah, I think if I had to think about one thing that people may not know about me is that I did consulting for a while. I was in the education space and I was afforded the opportunity to do consulting. And what that looked like was organizational development type work and data analysis and also coaching. So I coached executives and teams in different workspaces and nonprofit organizations and education and so forth. And I think it's special to me because I'm able to come out outside of the organization, come inside to someone's organization, learning to kind of build that trust, get an understanding for the organization, and really have like focus areas if we're doing analysis or understanding the culture of an organization, understanding who they need to hire, where there are gaps, and really trying to build those relationships so that they feel empowered to do the work. And so that is another piece of me that not only I don't think people know about me, but it does shape how I work and why this work is so important to me.
Right.
The kind of leader I love helping place is someone who is ready for their next adventure. I think that one of my favorite things to ask in the interview process is tell me a little bit about yourself and why this role makes sense for the current iteration of your career. And it's so important for me to ask that question that way because I feel like we are different iterations of ourselves throughout our journeys of life. And that shows up in the career space. So, a little about me. I started in a nonprofit space, but went into education. And after being able to serve in that space for a while, being a director of a campus, I then left to go into this work. I saw a need. I saw something that I was really passionate about and really aligned with. And it was something I really wanted to do. While it was a little different than what I was doing then, I was ready for my next adventure. So I love placing leaders who are in a place where they're like, okay, I'm ready for my next transition. Okay, I've accomplished some things here and I'm ready to see what is next. I'm also excited to see those transferable skills. There's so many things that we do in our work that sometimes we don't even realize on the day to day, but being able to kind of pull those things out and helping leaders find what their transferable skills are, how they're aligned with their passions and the work that they're doing is very important to me. And as much as clients say, I don't know if we can find a unicorn of a candidate, candidates feel the same way sometimes. I don't know if we can find a unicorn of a client or an organization that will meet all of my needs. And so So I'm really excited to help those leaders that are looking for their next adventure and looking to make that transition. Again, my name is Roslyn Gowens. Most people call me Roz, and you can find me on LinkedIn. And that's probably the best place, probably where most people contact me. If you ever just need a conversation, thinking about support, or want to understand my work and what we do at Edgility Search, feel free to message me and I will be in contact.